So those who have missed the class or those who wants to repeat the class, this is the URL where you can see all the JavaScript class lessons are there. So you can only watch till lesson 5, other will be available soon in few days. So I'll give you this URL. You can watch old videos, and if you have time, you can watch old videos, or if you're interested in watching old videos. But if you're not interested, then leave it. So we started the callback on that day. We'll see one more example of callback. So let's say if I have one function that is called multiply, and it takes 3 parameters a, b, c. It can take n number of parameters, but right now let's think of 3 parameters. Okay, so it takes the 3 parameters, and then I go to the loop for var I equal to 0, I less than. I can put arguments dot length. It will be 3 because I'm passing 3. But if I pass more, I can use that also as argument dot length. Or even if I don't pass anything, then also it will work. Now I will say I plus plus. Let me rename it to multiply by 2 so it is clear what I'm doing. So whatever parameter I will pass, I will go through each parameter and I will multiply by 2. And I will save it in an array. So I will create one array. To create empty array, we give the var variable name, and I give empty rectangle bracket, that is empty array. So what I will do array of I, that is whatever number we are calculating, I will put it in the array. And I will say arguments of I into 2. So whatever, let's say if I pass 3, 1, 2, 3, for example. So first time it will run as 1 into 2. Second time it will run 2 into 2. Third time it will run 3 into 2. And each time it will be saved in one variable array, which I will return it. So if I return array, okay, I am returning array. So whatever I pass, it will multiply by 2 and return an array. So let's enter it. So now let's see some example. So if, for example, if I pass 1, 2, 3, you will see the return is 2, 4, 6. So all the arguments are multiplied by 2, and we get the multiply by 2 return. Okay, now this is the one function. Let's create another function. Function add 1, and it takes only the 1 parameter. So what I will do, whatever parameter it comes, I will just add 1. So I will say return a plus 1. So if you pass, for example, if you pass add 1 of 1, it will give me 2. If I pass 3, it will give me 4. So whatever I am passing, it will add 1 and return it. So these are the two functions, one function and two function. Now we will play with these two functions and see how we are passing one function into another function. Somehow we will play with these two functions. Okay. So first what I will do, let me put this function again so that I can remove all the junk. So so I created two functions. Now I'll do something. I will create one variable x equal to array. Initially I will initialize it with array. Now I will say x equal to, I will pass multiply by 2, and here I will pass three value 10, 20, 30. When I pass three value, you have seen multiply by 2 multiplies each one to 2 and give the result. So if I pass multiply by 2 with 10, 20, 30, the result will be, this will be 20, this will be 40, and this will be 60. So let's press enter. So I'm getting 20 and 40 and 60. Okay, so I got this one. Now if I put x, what is x? 20, 40, 60. Now what I will do, I will loop through x. So I will say for var I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, and I will loop the x. And what I will say? I will say I will pass this x, each value of x, to this function, add 1. You don't need to understand the internal of this function or internal of this function. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to pass three values in the first function, and I'm taking those three values, I'm looping all three values, and each time I will call this second function, that is this one. And each time I will pass here x of I. So that means first time when I pass, it will be 20 here, and the result will be 21. When it comes from here, the result will be 21. And second time I will pass 40, and the result will be 41. Third time I will pass 60, result will be 61. And each time I will save it in x variable only. So x will be updated with the new value, that is, it will add 1 and update the x value. So when I press enter, and then I will say x, you will see it has updated with 21, 41, and 61. So what we have to do, first we have to call this multiply by 2. It will go the for loop. Then I will call for loop for all the results, and it calls another function, that is add 1, and it updates the value to 21, 41, 61. So this is something we use two functions. We use two functions and loop two times. One time here we looped, and second time here we looped. When it is argument 1, does it look at the first argument? Yeah, so when it is argument 0, it will look at the first argument, that is 10. So it goes from 0 to n. So when it is first time argument 0, this will be 10. Second time it will be 20. Third time it will be 30. So each time it becomes 20, 40, and 60. And here, first time it is 0, that is 20. It will add 1, it will become 21. Second time it is 40, it will become 41. Third time it is 60, it will become 61. I'm not sure what is your question. Okay, so just ask me again when I finish this, because okay, so first let me finish what I want to say. about the callback. Main purpose of this exercise is to understand the callback. So here I have calling two functions. First time I am calling this function, it gives me the loop. Second time I am looping again to call another function. So 2 times loops are going. So we will try to avoid this 2-time loop by passing the callback function. And let's see how we do that now. Okay, so let's modify this function. So here we are modifying this function multiply by 2. So here right now, initially we did not put any argument, but we want to play with the 3 arguments. So let me put 3 arguments and we'll play with it. Okay, so let's play with the 3 arguments now, because the purpose of this exercise is to play with the 3 arguments. Let's say I pass A, B, and C as the 3 arguments, and in the last I will pass some callback function. Okay, so this is the callback function, and I want to only play with the 3 arguments. Since this last one is a callback function, so we will not put argument.length. I will put only 3 because I want to play only with the 3 variables, so that I can call back as the 4th variable, 4th argument. Okay, so now what I did, I changed this to 3 variables, and there is a callback function. Okay, now what I will do, whenever I process this argument into 2, because it is multiplied by 2, I will take this result and process through the callback. What I'm doing? Processing through the callback. So this time, if I am first time getting 20, it will do 20 into 2. First time I'm getting 10. It will do 10 into 2, 20, and it will call the callback. And this callback will nothing but this will be the add 1. So whatever result we are getting, it will process through the callback, and it will add 1, and we will be getting 21 in the first case. Second case will be 20 into 2 will be 40, and then it will go through the callback. Callback will be nothing but this second function, and it will give 21. So let's press enter now. Now again I will call this function with 10, 20, and 30, and the callback will be nothing but this function add 1. Okay, so now I will save it in some variable, maybe var y equal to, and I'll press enter. Now if I see what is y is 21, 41, 61. So what I did the change, initially I created a 2 function, and I have to loop first time here, and second time I have to loop here. In the second case, what I did, I avoided this second loop by passing the callback, so that each time when I get the result, I'm applying it to the callback and saving it in some variable. So the result I'm getting 21, 41, 61. It's the same, but we are using the callback function, and we are avoiding this second kind of loop. So this is just an example. Callback means some function we want to pass to another function, and we want to use this function at any moment of the time inside this function. Maybe it is in the between, or in the end, or in the beginning, and that means the callback function. And why we put the callback function? We could have directly added it 1 here. Okay, we could have directly instead of callback function, I would have directly added 1. But why I use the callback function? The reason is now I want to add 1. Next time, in another case, I want to add 2. In another case, I want to add 3. So my callback function will change. It is not fixed. That is, I want to add 1. So tomorrow, if I want to add 2, tomorrow I want to add 3. So that means whenever we have some dynamic function coming, then we use the callback not the hard code value of +1 here. That is the reason we use a callback. So this is one simple example of callback. You don't need to write down this. You have to just understand that callback means I just pass the function and I'm using that function here any place of the time in this function. In this case, I'm avoiding the for loop second time, but in practical example, you may have different purpose of the callback. Like for example, you have Ajax call. After the Ajax call is done, you need to do some another function, and you need to call another function, and that is the reason we use the callback at that time also. We will see that example when we will reach that Ajax call. But right now, this simple example is the usage of this second function in the first function. That is the purpose of this exercise. You don't need to understand what is the internal of this. You just need to understand that I pass one function and I'm using this function anyhow in this code. Okay. I put callback in the fourth argument because I'm only playing with the 3 arguments. I know that I will be passing 3 arguments. That is the reason I pass fourth as a callback. This function will not take n number of arguments. This function will only take 3 arguments, and the fourth one will be the callback. So this is the example of only 3 parameters it will take. Though I'm taking these arguments because of the for loop, but I only want to take only 3 parameters, not the callback. Fourth one is the callback which I pass. So I can pass callback here, or I can pass callback in the front. So for example, if I want to take n number of arguments, then I can modify my function. I will put the callback in the beginning like this. I will put the callback in the beginning and I will leave all other as empty. Then what happens when I call this? Okay, let me modify this one, sorry. So I pass only the callback and I want n number of arguments after that. Then I can start with the 1 because 0 will be the callback which I'm using it, and all others I can use in the addition. So now if I pass var y equal to add 1 and I can pass 2, then so here first one will be empty because we are starting with the 1, so 0th will be empty, but rest other will process as it is. So depending on what you want to do, that is, you can change the parameters, but the purpose of this exercise was to put the callback function and use it in the function. So now you see that first one is going empty because 0th value, it is nothing, undefined, and from the second one, 1 is multiplied by 2 is 2 and it is added 1, 2 is multiplied by 2 and it is 5. So this is an example of callback, that we want to pass some function and we process that function. Okay, that is the purpose of this exercise. Let's move on because I don't want to put too much time in this one. Callback is something you just want to put one function in another function to do something. So let's see what are the self-invoking functions. Okay, this is the self-invoking function. So we have seen the anonymous function few days back. That function is having no name. This function has no name, and I can put some console.log in this. Now tell me, if I press enter, what will happen? Will it run this, or what will happen? Will it show the code, or what will happen? This is anonymous function. What will happen when I press enter now? Anand will saying print, rest others are saying error. So I will press enter and see what will happen. So it is giving me the error. Now why it is giving error? It's saying function statement require a function name. So this is anonymous function, but it needs the name to run it, because anonymous function cannot run without the name. But there is a way to run it. If I want to run this anonymous function, I will put it in the parentheses and I will put this function here. So once I put the function in the parentheses, then if I press enter, there will be no error and I can see the code is running, that code here. Now this is something anonymous function. I cannot call it again because it has no name. This function is anonymous. This has no name. So I cannot call it. Can I call this function again? What should I write? Above function? What should I write to call that? I cannot call the function because it is just anonymous. It does not have name. So what happened? We want to run this anonymous function immediately. So to run this function immediately, I have to invoke it. How we invoke a function? By putting parentheses. So as soon as this function is ended here, I'm invoking this function. And when I invoke this function will run immediately. See, this function is run immediately because I invoke it immediately. And I see the console.log hi. So this is only the one-time function call. Second time I cannot call because it does not have name. I cannot call this function again. So what I have to do? Anonymous, this function is called self-invoking function. Self-invoking function. Because it is anonymous function and it is invoking immediately. It is invoking immediately. We are not waiting by creating the function like this. I'm not waiting, I'm not creating this function and waiting that it will be called sometime in the future. I have to call this immediately. If I don't call it immediately, it is useless. I cannot use it. And I can also pass the parameter here. For example, I will say name. And here I can say hello plus name. And here in the parentheses, when I invoke it, I will pass the name, John. So I am passing the name here, John. Name will go here as a name. This John will go here as a name. This John is argument. It will go as a parameter name and it will print hello John. It's saying hello John. And it is called only one time in the lifetime of your script. You cannot call it again because it does not have name. So if it does not have name, so what is the use of it? You cannot call it again. So what is the use of this kind of function? So this kind of function is generally used in initializing some variables. So if you have some variables you want to initialize, then you can create this function. So for example, you want to, so you have some, setup kind of thing. For example, I have some setups on the website. So let's say I want to initialize some variables, for example, var x. This var x will be the local to this function. It will not be available globally, but we can do something to make it available globally, which we will see in few minutes. So for example, I will say x equal to 1, var y equal to 2. And so this var x and y are local variables. I can convert it into global. I will move this into the global and I will show you how. But this setup on the website is generally done on this kind of functions, right? So we initialize some variables and I don't want to initialize this again. And instead of writing directly in the global, I want to put it in some function. I can put this in the function and use it somewhere. So these functions are having very limited scope, only in the setup or one-time usage. Whenever you want to use one time, then we can use this function. Or another use can be, this will be, let's say, when the page is initialized, you want to call some AJAX call one time only on the page. You don't want to call it again, never call it again on the page. Then you can use this kind of function also. Okay, now I will show you how to make it globally, but that is not the important part of this topic. But I will show you in short how you can do. But don't try to do too much, attention on that one. Okay, tell me before I go with the global setup, how to convert this into global. I will show you something. One more thing. See, I passed the parameter. This curly bracket is ended here, and I pass this John here immediately. What will happen if I pass this round bracket outside this parenthesis? So this parenthesis, I created this function. What do you think? It will give error or it will work fine? I am passing this, invoking it outside this parenthesis. Previously what I was doing? I was invoking inside the parenthesis. Now what do you think? What will happen? Will it give error or it will run fine? Anand is saying error. Error. Okay, let's run it and see. And here you go. It still works. So it doesn't matter if you put this execution call outside or inside. It is your preference which you want to use. If you feel comfortable inside, you can use inside. If you feel comfortable outside, based on your own thinking, this is nothing. This is your preference. Both will work fine if I call after the function parenthesis or if I call inside. Both are same. So based on your thinking, you can do whatever you want. Either go with the outside or inside. Now I can also pass some global, just a variable name, or I can say G. And here I pass window. You know that window is the global object. So if I type window, window is the global object. That is something, when I say this, this is nothing but the window object. So I can pass window object in this function, which will go as a G here. And if I say g.x equal to x, so this value is attached to G, and I can say g.y equal to y. So I'll say g.y equal to y. So this value will be attached to here. Now when I press enter, this x and y will be attached to the G. G is nothing but a global object, and we can see it in the global object. So if I say this, if I go window, if I go down, you will see x and y are here. So though these two variables are local, we can export it into the global like this. Generally in React there are a lot of other things which we do, so it is not needed practically, but I showed you one example how we do. Just forget this, don't remember this one, because we will never do this in real one. In real one we will be doing something different, but this is the way we can pass the global object, and we can set up the local variable. We can put it in this one. Okay, so this is not the exact right way to do this, but I just showed one example. Okay, so don't put more attention, because we will be not doing this anytime in our lifetime. We will do a lot other things. Now let's see we saw the self-invoking. This was self-invoking function because it invoked immediately. It invoked itself. Self means itself. It invokes itself. That is the reason it is called self-invoking function. Let's see what are the private functions. So if I have a function, for example A, it takes one parameter param, and we have another function B, it takes another parameter, for example input. And then what it does, it returns input into 2. So this is the parent function A, and we have the child function. And since the child function is created inside the parent function, so practically this child function is not accessible in the global one. So it is kind of the private function of this function. So this is a private function because it cannot be accessed outside this function. So that means it is a private function. And here I will say return the result is, I'm returning some string, and what I'm saying, I'm calling the B function, and I'm passing this parameter. So when I'm passing this parameter will go here inside the B. It will be act as an input, and it will be input into 2, that will multiply by 2, and the result will be whatever number I have passed, it will multiply by 2, and the result will be the multiplication of that number. So if I pass 1 as a parameter, it will return 2. If I pass 2, it will return 4. So I'll press enter. So when I call A with value 2, it's saying result is 4. So what it is going? 2 is going as a parameter, and here parameter is passed to function B, and it will return whatever value I have passed, it will multiply by 2, and it will return the result. That is whatever multiplication is, that is the 4. I'm getting this. Since B cannot be accessed outside this function, so it is called the private function. So if I say B, it will give the error because B does not exist at the global level. But B I can call from the inside the function, inside this function, because it is scope is in this function only. So just remember, the private functions are the functions created inside another function. So private functions are created inside another function. Okay, so right now you don't write down about this function, but if I feel, I will give you another exercise where you can practice the private function. Right now just remember that private functions are created inside another function. So if I another function created inside a function, then it is private function. So just understand that terminology, what we are doing. The important things which I will come in future, I will tell you to write down in front of me. This private function is just here to remember what are the private functions. Okay, let's see another concept, the functions that return functions. So now we will see functions that return functions. So many times we have seen the function is returning value 1, 2. Now we will see some example where it will return a function. So for example, I will create a function A, and I will do here alert A. Okay, this function is doing alert A. Then it is returning another function. So this is alerting something, then it is returning another function. It is not returning string, it is returning another function. And here it is saying alert B. Okay, now I'll press enter. Now what will happen when I call x equal to A? What will be alerted, A or B? Okay, so I am getting the mixed answer. Some are saying A, some are saying B. So let me explain what will happen. When I invoke the A, I'm invoking the A. Okay, right. When I am invoking the A, right, A, then it will saying the function. That is correct. So when I say A, invoking the A, it will alert A, this one. It will alert A and then it will return this function. So the value of X will be this function code, not this whole. So once I call this function, initially it will alert A, but the value of X will become this function. So if I say enter it, you will see this is A is alerted. And now what is the value of X? X is this function, this one, the internal function. Now if I call X again, it will alert B. And anytime in future, now it will alert B because X is B. So only initial time it was alerting A, and rest all other time when I call X, it will alert this return function. So this is the something we are returning a function. So a function that returns a function. So first time when I run A, it will alert A. But again, if I call this A, it will run A again. And then X, value of X will become this code, because this is the return value. So second time, if I want to run X, I am running this function. So many times you have to run few lines of the code, but in the second time, you don't want to run this alert A, you want to run this code. So you're returning this function. That is the purpose of this exercise. This is a function that is returning a function. So just remember, always we generally return a string or array or object or number, but we can also return function because functions are first class functions in JavaScript. It can act as a value and we can return it also from one function to another function. So that is the purpose of this function that return functions. Okay, just remember that this function is returning, that's it. This function is returning another function, and then we can call this return value and I can invoke it. Okay, can I invoke like this also, var X equal to A? Can I invoke this double parenthesis? Is it true or it will give error or it will work? And if it will work, what will be the value? Okay, it is not clear. I will explain this again. So what will be the value of this one? X equal to A. I give one parenthesis and two parentheses. It will alert A and B. One is saying it will alert one A and B. What is the another answer? I want the answer from everyone. I am invoking one function and side by side I am invoking second function. Ali is saying alert B will come. Should alert both. Okay. So to understand this, it will go from left to right. So first A and this parenthesis will run. A, this parenthesis is nothing but this alert A. Okay, so alert A will run, and this will, first part will return this function as a return value. And then, since this part is a function, I can call it again with parentheses. I can invoke it again. So it will give the alert B, because A is nothing but, though it will alert A, it will return a function. If we are getting some function and I can invoke this function, I can invoke this function with this one. It is nothing but, this A is nothing but this part, and I can invoke it. I can invoke it like, so second part it will alert B. So if I run this, it is alerting A and then it is alerting B. Okay, what will happen if I do third time? What will happen? Error. One is saying error. Okay, whether it will give error or whether it will give alert A, alert B and error. Okay, Anand is saying alert A, alert B, error. What is another answer? Any other person saying same thing? Alert A, alert B, alert, error. So first time this will run, this one will say alert A, then this will run, this one will say alert B, and since this function is not returning anything, that is, it is returning undefined. So after second time I have undefined, and invoking undefined will give error. So I will get two alert and then error. So first time it is giving A, then second time it is giving B, and then it is giving error. Okay, because first time it will alert A and it will return a function. So second time knows that it is a function, I can invoke it. So second time invoke it. So second time B will alert it. But third time this is not returning anything. So third time it will give it will invoke this third time invoke of undefined will give error. Is this clear? Let me explain this again. This is the function that returns a function. I have function A, it alerts something or does something and then it returns something. So let me rewrite this again. Let's do console.log. A, B. So when I call x equal to A, so what will do? A will go line by line code. This one will run console.log A, I will see, and then this is the return. Since it is a return, it will not invoke this function. We are not invoking this function. So console.log B will not be returned. Only we will get this function code. This code will be returned. So if I press enter, I see A because of this line. But what will be the value of x? Value of x nothing but this function. So if I see what is the x? X is the function. That is this function. It's a console.log B. So I can, since it is a function, I can invoke it. I can invoke it. When I invoke it, I get B because it is saying console.log B. So that same thing is happening. When we return the function, it becomes a code. I can invoke it. Okay, so I can invoke it one time here, second time invoke here. But I can also invoke both together. Then I'm getting A and B together. First one will give A, second invoke will be give B. And third time if I do, it will give error because third time it is only console.log. It is not returning anything. Since it is not returning anything, so after the second time it is undefined value. When it is undefined value, then I get this undefined of function invoke will give error. Okay, it will become more clear. We will see some more examples in soon. So don't worry if you don't understand. Okay, let's take one more example of this one. Not this one. This is another one. Okay, so this is the topic is called function that rewrite themselves. So what will happen now? A function is there. It will rewrite itself. Okay. So let's see how it will rewrite. Okay, let's see how it will rewrite. So I have a function A. Okay, it will do some console.log. I am A. Okay, now what I will do, I will take A. Since A is created in the global space, I can then use A again here. I will say A equal to another function. And here I am saying console.log, I am A again. So what I'm doing, when I'm creating this A, it is console.log doing this. Then it is rewriting A to the new function. When it is rewriting it to new function, this old function is gone. It is the new function then, this one. So now you tell me, when I run A, whether I will be able to get this part or this part. This is the one number, this is the two number. Tell me one number or two number. When I say A, and when I say only A, I am getting this function code. But if I invoke A, what will I get? Whether I will get this one or I will get this one. So one is saying 2, that is this one. Anand is saying I am A. RM is saying second one. Ali is saying 1. Testy is saying 1. Sonu is saying 1. Okay. So let's go through it. When I invoke the A, this line will run, but this code will be assigned to A. So A will become the new function. But this code will not run unless and until I invoke it. I'm not invoking this function. I'm just saving it as in some variable. So since this is not invoked, this will not be called. So let me clean and we will see again. Okay, so when I run A, so it is saying I am A. It will run only this one. But now when I run A again, what will happen? It will run 1 or 2. If I say A again, what will happen? Whether it will run this one or this one? 2. It will say 2. So it is saying I am A again because A is redefined to this function. Now the old function is gone and we have the new function. So let's go through it again. So what will happen? One line is run. Since I am putting the same variable name, this and this is same. So this will be overwritten by this function once I invoke A. So the first time it will run this one and all the subsequent call will run this one because we are redefining A to some different function. That is the purpose of this exercise. Rewriting the function. Okay, rewriting to thyself. What we say? Function. What is the exact name? Function that rewrite thyself. Because it is writing it itself. Okay, let's have one more example. I have var A equal to function. Here I create one function. This is a private function inside it, so it cannot be accessed outside. Setup, some setup. Okay, so it's saying console.log setup done. Okay, saying setup. I will create another function, actual work. This is the actual work of this function. And here saying console.log work is in progress. Okay, this is actual work. Now what I will do, I will run the sum setup. So I invoke the sum setup. I'm invoking this one. And then I'm returning actual work. So is it right to return like this or this? This is number 1, this is number 2. What is the right? To return 1 or 2? This is 1. Actual work I have to return like this, or I have to return like this. What is the right way? So if I return like this, I'm not returning the function. I have to return this function code. If I'm returning with parentheses, that means I'm returning this console.log. Generally, whenever you return a function, uh, so the thing is that I already told, depend upon your code. If you want to return some value so that you can use it, like return 1, then it makes sense. But if you want to use this function in the latter part of your code, then this is the right way. But answer can be both. It can be this or this. Both are right, because depending on what you want to do in this function. So I will not say one is right or one is wrong. So let's return this one, this function. So the code will be returned. So when I press enter, nothing will happen because I just created the A. I have not run it. So let's run this A. Now what will you see? Whether you will see this is printed or you will see this is printed when I run A. This is 1 and this is 2. What you will see in the printing? Whether this will be printed or this will be printed. Anand is saying work is in progress. Ola is saying setup done. How is saying setup done? So the thing is that when I run A, first time this line of the code will run. This will only be saved in the memory. This will be saved in the memory, and then when the code will reach this point, it will console.log this one, and then it is returning actual work, that is this function code. So in the print you will see only this part, console.log setup done. You will not see this part because we are not invoking this anytime now. We are invoking A first time, and first time invoking is this part. So it will only show setup done. Let's press enter. So I see only setup done. Since it is returning, so I'm seeing the code here, code of actual work I'm seeing, but we are not seeing this console.log because it is not invoked. This part is not invoked anytime. This is only returned, but it was not invoked. But second time when I run A, it will say, okay, 1 second. It's okay, 1 second. So since A is nothing but this whole code, and so it is second time also, it will go with the though it is returning A, I'm not changing the value of A, and that is the reason setup done is called again. Okay, so to use it, we have to call A equal to A. We have to invoke A, and then second time it will call work is in progress. Okay, because first time what was happening, I was not assigning it to somewhere else. So this actual work was not assigned to A, and that is the reason setup done was done called again and again. So what I have to do, I have to invoke A and assign it to A to make this actual work again second time. Okay, let me refresh this again because I run, I created this function. If I'm calling this A again and again, it will run this setup. 1 second. It will run this. So it will run, sorry, it will run this setup done again. Okay, so when I run this A, first time it is doing setup done. Second time also if run I like this, we are not reassigning this one, return one. So second time also it is showing setup done. But generally how to use this one is we have to reassign it to A like this. And then second time if I run A, it will do work is in progress. It will not do the one. So we are rewriting A to A again using this method. Okay, if I do A again like this, we are not reassigning to someone, so it is calling this whole function again. So in the second case, what we are doing, I am saying A is equal to A function. So first time it is running the setup done, and then this actual work, this function is assigned to A, and second time it is called work in progress. Okay, so if I call again and again A, that means it is calling this function again and again. But since we have to do this setup only one time, so we have to reassign this A to A, and then the new A will be work is in progress. Is that clear? So this is called rewriting to itself. So we have to rewrite A to itself. Okay. Now the next topic which we have to take, which I will not start today. Next topic is the closures. So we will start that closure tomorrow. And this closure is very important in all JavaScript interview. 100% of time in all the interview they ask these closures. So there is no exception. If you go for JavaScript interview or React.js or Node.js, they will 100% ask what are the closures and how to use it. They will not ask directly. They will give you some example and you have to solve that example using the closure. And if you don't use closure, then you will not succeed in that interview. So they will not say what are closures, tell me the closure. They don't do like this. So I have given interview in PayPal, in Walmart, in Amazon, in all they ask closures. Okay, so from tomorrow we will see what are closures and how to use the closures and what they ask in the interview. We will see some examples what they ask in interview. So make sure you don't lose the closure lecture. It's very important and 100% of time it is asked in all the interviews. So if you have any question, so today what we did small things which are useful to understand the JavaScript, but they are not very important for interview purpose, but they are important for understanding purpose of the JavaScript. But tomorrow what we will do, we will learn closure, which is important for understanding also, and it is important for interview also. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask me, otherwise see you tomorrow. Whatever we are doing right now, this is object-oriented concept of JavaScript. We are doing object-oriented. So object-oriented is a big thing. We have the functions in it, we have the objects in it, we have the prototype in it. So this all three things, or closures and small things are there. This all are the part of object-oriented concept in JavaScript. So whatever we have done since few days, it is part of object-oriented concept in JavaScript.